Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Rises, Amplify, and Thrive Life Speaker Series, where we literally bring people from all over the world in to share their wisdom, their insight, their messages. And we have beautiful healers, spiritual gurus, change makers, visionaries. Seriously, you name it, they are here. And I am so grateful that every week they keep coming back to want to just share just their love and their heart with all of you. And this series is connected to my nonprofit, She Rises, Amplify, and Thrive Foundation, where we are literally uplifting women all over the world, helping them step into their leadership, step into their empowerment, whether that's through entrepreneurship, education, career, whatever it is that they're needing to just be uplifted and supported in. We all of the proceeds from these shows, 100% of it goes to that nonprofit to provide scholarships, funding, like I said, anything you name it, and that's what we're here to do. So today my guest is Nicki Hu. She is a multidimensional activator, channel, and visionary artist. She helps lightworkers and new earth leaders to elevate their consciousness and live a more fulfilling, meaningful, and aligned life. And today we're going to be talking about finding your voice, how to be seen for who you truly are. And I feel like this topic is so fitting in the direction that we're going. I also feel like it's very in alignment with She Rises. And so, Nicki, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And it's always so much fun when we converse. I am like laughing all the time.
It's true. It's true. We have many conversations. So let's dive into your topic because I would love for you to share about how you have been able to find your own voice and what are things that you do where you feel comfortable expressing who you truly are?
Yes, well, I feel like a lot of what I say is on a more like collective level, but a lot of my personal themes are being reflected back to me as in how the collective is moving in this direction. So I'll share from both perspectives. And the first one is how we as light workers, like if we are really here to lead a revolution of consciousness, why our voice is so important and why so many light workers, healers, and leaders are experiencing vocal blocks, right? Blocks in being seen, visibility, and things like that. And it has like, it really is about like the dynamics that have suppressed us in our childhood and even in the ways that the collective has been suppressed for women, for our spiritual gifts, how maybe like we're not good enough or we shouldn't be too loud, too out there, right? That's another one. It's like that was a big one for me. Am I spiritual enough? Am I not spiritual enough? Like what should I say to get people to understand? Am I heard? Um, and then it really cracked open this year when I was guided into art and I like almost freaked out, right? Because I was like, I thought I was just doing healing. Like, I thought, I was supposed to be on this path. Why am I being guided into art? And I was freaking out about it. But what art really showed me was the deeper wounds that I was having around visibility, but even then, about self-acceptance. Because art is so like our voice and our creativity and our expression is so vulnerable and authentic to who we are. When we speak, we are speaking as a representation of us and as a representation of our soul. But when we have to hide that because we want to be palatable and we want people to like us, then like we're distorting our true frequency. We're distorting what our soul wants to communicate through us as source. So when it came to art, I was facing a lot of those insecurities. Well, what am I supposed to create through my art? I kept asking, like, what do you want me to create through art? What will people like? What will people buy? And it wasn't about that at all. It was about like, you are the channel for your art. So I had to come back home to me and say, what does my heart want to express? What am I seeing? What is source showing me through my visualizations? And how do I relate to that? And a lot of it is us relating to ourselves and relating to the world around us and what we're here to do. So,
Yes. Well, there's a couple things in that that I actually really love. So I love like I'm gonna tell you, my thing is about being too much. Like, I always worry, am I too much? Like, I get a lot, like, as you know, I get a lot of information and a lot of downloads. If I share this, is this too much? And that's a struggle that for me that I'm still, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like we all have struggles. I'm still trying to overcome that, right? But little by little and day by day, I get a little, I get a little bit more braver to put it out there, right? But the here, and I'm saying this because I think that a lot of people may relate to that, is I think that's a common thing where we often, like, especially as women, we think, oh, well, I don't want to do that. That will be too much. But then we have a soul that is screaming for our own self-expression. And now we start getting into, kind of like that. I am gonna call it that in between space of like, okay, this isn't who I am anymore. I know that I'm becoming somebody else. And it's kind of like this internal fight, or I call it strife, because I feel like for me, it's this strife that I'm in. Do I do it? Do I not do it? Like, I don't want to be this person anymore. And truthfully, I can't be that person anymore because that person is no longer in this timeline of that existence, but I'm moving towards this new person. And so the reason that I'm saying all of this is because I think you really nailed it on the head, is that when we stop listening to everything that is out there and start coming home to who we are, then we really know who we are, right? Which is really coming in inside and just sitting with ourselves and loving who we are in all of the goofiness and everything else that comes with it, right? That when we get to that part is that we realize is that we came into this world absolutely perfect. And so our perfection is never too much because it's exactly the reason we incarnated into this world is to be who we are meant to be. And so um I don't have a question in that. I don't think. I just wanted to say that I truly do agree with you. And I think that the way that the world is going is that, and maybe even what we're seeing in the external is stuff that we're like, we don't want to be a part of that anymore. So if we don't, like, if we're moving away from the external, the only other place that we have to go, and I think this is the beautiful thing of like when I'm going to say kind of like when bad things happen, is it does force us to go inside where we've always should have gone.
yeah. And here are a few things that really helped me because I realized that like my whole journey was trying to understand the bigger picture. Like, why am I here? Right? Like, and oftentimes that was the journey of awakening is things are not really working out in life. I think I'm suffering in this relationship, this job, this career. And there's so much more that I believe I'm capable of. And that's what creates the whole journey, the soul journey of trying to find ourselves, the true authentic self. So in the and like in the exploration of understanding myself in relationship to the universe, right? Like there is this universe. What is my role to play in this universe? What really helped me with my voice was okay, there is this big universe. I am source, right? Like source is everything. Source is this laptop, source is this table, source is everything, source is just energy. So you and I are just expressions of source. Then what's the purpose of unit like what's the purpose of understanding unity? Because we're moving towards this unity consciousness of understanding we are all and we are like everyone and everything is the same thing, comes from the same place. Then what's the point of having a human body? And that was like the existential crisis I had this year of like, oh my God, I've transcended, I've connected to source and I've connected to this big, beautiful, unified field of consciousness. And then I was like, wait a minute. But what about my human self? I'm still suffering in my human life, right? I'm still experiencing certain things.
Mhm.
And then coming back down, I realized what's the point of being a human? And then it really forced me to say, well, it's not money, it's not relationship, it's about happiness, it's about being who I am. But who am I? Right? Like I've lived my whole life catering to everyone, trying to be the perfect spiritual person, trying to be the perfect daughter, trying to be successful in all kinds of metrics and what society says. But then it's like, then like, what about my happiness? What about my joy? And that's of the heart, right? And we talk so much about the throat, but all the chakras are connected. So I was like, well, I didn't really focus so much on the heart. It took me all the way back to childhood of understanding who I am at my core essence. The purest version of me was in childhood before conditioning, and really learning to understand my personality. And this is why I love charts so much. I've always been obsessed with astrology, gene keys, human design, personality charts. I'm always studying and saying like, who am I supposed to be? Who am I supposed to be? Who am I supposed to be? But it was through these mirrors of tools that helped me understand that every single person, actually, when we study charts, it's like every single person has an archetype, and it's your unique expression of frequency that resonates with other people. So instead of trying to people please and trying to, be everyone and everything in every single color of the rainbow, just being my unique color will attract the right person because I am just an expression of source in a specific frequency. And so that in itself, me being a human, still having my imperfections, but that in itself is still part of source, and source is perfect, right? There's no good, bad experience. It's just what we place meaning on. So understanding the bigger picture helped me accept myself more in this level. But the true acceptance really came from feeling that. It wasn't just about reading about myself in a chart. It was about feeling and experiencing, wow, I really am like super intellectual. And that was one of the things that was really hard for me to accept or see. Like it's like I didn't see it. And I wrote an email to my whole list and I was like, oh my God, I discovered my brain type, and my brain type sees abstract, and I see things that don't, that between the lines. I see energy, I see charts, and I see how it all makes sense. And I was like, I'm a freaking genius, but I thought I was stupid this whole time.
Well, I'm
Um,
gonna say by no means did I ever think that you were stupid. From the moment that I met you, I really was like this girl knows her thing, knows her stuff. And so, um, it's so interesting. So I think that the hardest question, and you said it, that we could ever ask ourselves is who am I? And I don't know about you, if you ever notice that when somebody does ask, like when you ask somebody who are you, they're like, well, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I work for such and such. I'm like all of these things. And what's interesting is everything that they name is something that's external that they do, right? And I love this because you and I have had these conversations before, but that is like the question that I've really been sitting with, like literally I've gone into like my own hibernation for the last several of weeks. But like, who am I? And it's to go, and I want it to go deeper than that I'm a mother, I'm this, I'm all these things, because the truth of the matter is there is something inside of me that is bigger than what's external, if that makes sense. And so I think that is the magic question when you ask somebody like, who are you? And they're like, oh, who am I? Like, who are you really? Like, really? And I'm not gonna, and like, I mean, we could probably talk about this and like really go into like some big esoteric stuff, um, but I think that's the magic question. And I encourage everybody who's on this call and who listens later is to really sit there and say and really think about who are you besides everything that is external to you.
mm, Can I share something?
Yes.
Because we were talking about the heart, like it's oftentimes like the heart block that blocks the throat too, right? It's the heart blocks that block the throat. So a lot of the healing that I was doing this year was reconnecting with the inner child and really asking. And I've done this with my clients, and it's been really cool because you'll ask them, and I can hear it between the voices. I asked my client, I said, "How are you feeling this week? What's been happening?" "Oh, I got a bunch of attachments, like vampiric attachments." And, and I cleared it and it was fine. But it was like, I can hear between that he was not fine, that he like, and so I had to sit there and I asked him, I said, well, what are you really feeling? Like, do you do this often? Do you often dilute what you're really feeling and slap a happy face over the experience? Because that's what we tend to do, right? Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. But how many of us actually sit with what we're actually feeling and are honest about it? And so, like, that was an exercise I was doing in my membership. And I said, everybody sit with your feeling and tell me what you really feel. Like, use your voice and tell me what you really feel. And when he sat with it, he was like, I feel like I'm falling. I feel like I'm drowning. And I was like, there you go. That's how you really feel. And that's the power of using our voice is we are authentic and honest about what we're really feeling. So instead of our brain trying to cover it up, it was like, okay, go into your heart and feel that. And when he felt that, and I said, and just sit with it and just feel it. And he was like, now that I'm falling, it doesn't have the charge of the fear anymore. But then it was interesting because and then he was like, but then there's another version of me looking down and it's scared. And I was like, sit with the fear, right? Sit with the scared. It's okay to be scared. But this is what we do in our normal life is we've disconnected from how we feel and nobody asks us, right? Or we've just kind of disconnected from telling people what we really feel. We've disconnected from telling people who we really are. And it's that blockage in the heart because we're afraid to feel the pain. We're afraid to feel the rejection. We're afraid to go deep to what's the root cause of what's creating it. And so the conversation goes, and part of what he said was, even though I feel the fear and we let it dissipate, and I let myself jump into the abyss. But it's almost like I don't feel anything anymore. He's like, what's the point? And that's what came out of his mouth. What's the point? What's the point of life? And I said, that's funny because that's probably an inner child thing. Let's go ask your inner child, huh? Why don't we ask your inner child? So we asked his inner child, and his inner child was honest, honest to a fault. His inner child said, what's the point of life if I can't love? And that is
Oh,
where a lot of people get stuck with their voice, is because deep down they want to express their truth. They want to
yes.
express what they're really feeling, but we can't express that because we don't feel safe or nobody has really asked us how we really feel. We're always catering to someone else, right? So when we got down to it, and he was just sitting with it and he felt the emotions of his inner child feeling like he can't love. And that was really heartbreaking because this whole journey, and I know because he's been my longtime client, like he's been doing this for a long time. And yet, why is there still that heart block? Because no one asked him how he felt, right? Um, and so after that, I said, oh, so what's your inner child doing now? And he's like, I feel him stomping and he's angry. And he's like, I don't care if you don't let me love, I'm going to love anyways. And that's using our voice. He was using his voice and when he was an inner child to say, I want love and I don't care what you say. And this is us creating boundaries now. We are now creating boundaries where we gave our power away and we're taking our voice back and speaking up about how we're really feeling. And anger in itself is just a signal in our body, right? Anger in itself lets us know that somebody crossed our boundaries and we logically don't know what happened, but we are reacting to it because somebody crossed our boundaries. And when we're told to don't cry, don't be angry, like you shouldn't shout, you shouldn't do all these things, we're actually neglecting the voice of our body. And this is why voice is not just in our throat. It can be expression through art, through writing, through songs, through movement, through dance, because it's an expression of our soul. It's an expression of our body, and our emotions are trying to tell us something. But if we've been told not to feel it our whole life, then we're going to not really, right? We don't know what our body's trying to tell us. We don't know what that means. We don't feel safe processing it. So, um, all that to say is if you really want to connect to your voice, start talking to yourself, start asking yourself, well, what do you really feel? What do you want to say in this moment? And then you'll be surprised because you'll get some honest, you'll start to hear some
It's so
honest
true.
things about, well, I don't really like this situation.
Well, I think there's so many gems in what you just said because, what you described in psychology, and everybody knows that I'm a psychology nerd. Anything that's connected to that, I'm like, "Ooh, what is this?" Is dissociation. So we have been taught from a very young age, like you said, don't shout, don't interrupt mommy and daddy are talking right now. All of these things, or you need to calm down, or like when we're little children, it's in that moment that we actually start creating that dissociation. That's where the mind and the body begin to split because we don't feel that it is safe even starting at the age of 3 and 4, like and I'm going to tell you, I was guilty of this too. I would tell my son, we would go to the store and I'd be like, no, 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 you cannot run around, or you cannot scream in the store. Well, again, it's just an expression of his soul, right? But at that moment, we began to dissociate from the mind, the body, and honestly, like the soul. So I love that you bring up feeling because feeling is the connection that begins to, it's literally like the glue that starts to bring all of that together. And and I think that a lot of people are shut off by how they honestly feel. And so when we begin to bring those together through the state of talking to yourself, asking your subconscious and your higher mind, like what's happening, what's going on, like talk to me. As you know, Nikki, I talk to my subconscious 24/7. Like we are in communication all the time. Like it's my best friend, as it should be, because when we start to bring all of that together and then we start to actually honestly feel, that's what I like to call embodiment, right? In the spiritual field, we often talk so much about embodying it. But what exactly are we embodying, right? But if you really sit down, again, and it's going back to who you are, the embodiment is that feeling. It is allowing anger to process through the mind, the body, the soul, and allowing it to honestly kind of reverberate in your field to know that it then does take away the charge of what it is. Because once we allow that embodiment to happen, we go to that space of neutrality, that
Mhm.
0 point that I've talked to you about before. We are at 0 point, and then all of a sudden our expansion grows because we are now seeing it from a 360-degree view versus this tiny little tunnel vision that we are looking through that lens. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I love that you use that example and you made him go talk to his child, because we all know that the most honest thing on this planet are children.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When my son gets upset, the first thing he says is, I don't want you anymore. And he runs away. And then he goes and tattletales to grandma about how much mom is bullying him. And I was like, I just said he can't have candy. Like, why are you tattletaling on me?
Oh.
But children feel such heavy emotions. That's why there's so many books. I remember one that was going viral. It was like Big Emotions, Little Body, right? Like you're in such a little body, but you're experiencing such big emotions. And from a soul perspective, we are mastering the heart in this lifetime. This is what makes us really intelligent beyond all the other higher dimensional beings who are surrounded by unconditional love all the time. They don't know what it's like to experience duality and different emotions. They
Yeah.
don't know what it's like to express ourselves because they expressed telepathically. They feel energy, and just feeling energy is enough to communicate. But us in the human body, expression is one of the things that makes us different, right? This is something that our soul is learning to master in this lifetime, is to be able to express energy through words, through form, and manifest through form. Um, so when we connect to our voice, and I think that's a big part of being us, is self-acceptance, and feeling safe. Safety is a big one. Just feeling safe to say what you want. And I noticed the trigger actually. And I notice triggers because I'm such a Libra. Like I like balance and harmony. So when people are like really out there, I feel triggered. So when people are like expressing their pain, and it didn't hit me until somebody said this, oh, this person's complaining all the time. They're always crying and talking about their pain and how much they're in pain. And I was like, well, when I was young, I was just told to suck it up. But that
Mhm.
triggered me because I was like, you're such a baby, take care of it yourself. But then, right, like there came a point that was like, well, why is that triggering to you? Why is it triggering to you that other people can express their pain and you feel like you feel something? And it's like, well, because I want to express my pain, but no one heard me. So I shut my mouth and I suck it up, right? And that's what closes the heart off, is I can't trust people. I don't feel safe to trust people. I don't feel safe to tell someone that I'm in pain. And when you actually open up and you're vulnerable and you say, listen, like I'm human, I'm going through this thing, it's really hard, I'm in pain. Like people connect with that. People feel safe around you
Mhm.
because you're honest, you're authentic, you're not hiding. And it doesn't say anything about your worth as well. So that was a really big one for me because coming from a very perfectionistic background of having it all together, when I hear people complain, I'm like, just suck it up. Like there's something, like just suck it up. But after working in the healing field for so long, what's the first thing I sit down with my clients? Tell me where's your pain? Tell me
Right?
where's your pain.
It's it's so true. I grew up in a family like that too. I wasn't allowed to express myself. I grew up in the family that, oh, you want to cry? I'll give you something really to cry about. So my tear ducts literally dried up. Until recently when I started stepping more authentically into who I was and saying, well, wait a minute, who I am isn't bad. Like, who I am is actually okay. Like, people like me. I don't have to wear this mask that says I'm tough all the time or I don't do these things all the time. Um, so now my tear ducts are now starting to spurt water again. But it's hard because when I look at my son and I think of like some of the things that I may have said or like some of the things that I may have done that I actually have learned from, my own family, I'm just like, my poor kid. like, and it breaks my heart because I'm like, we don't realize this, and I'm not saying that we're bad or we're wrong. Like, we're all learning, right? Like, that's what we're here. We're in this earth school to learn, to evolve, to grow. But I like, we do start conditioning and like even our own conditioning of what we bring into the world at a very young age. And I know like we start saying like conditioning really happens around the age of 6 or 7. And I know there's research to back that up. But truthfully, we actually really start gravitating to that conditioning and that programming. And this is my own opinion, is when we start in the womb. Because we do hear things and we do experience and experience stuff when we're in the womb. So I say that because I just think all the way back and I'm just like, ugh, I must have really tortured my kid.
You're not alone. Because my awakening happened simultaneously after like I conceived. So back then I was like in a really like it was bad, okay? Like I was having an affair, I was married, like now I'm having a kid, I'm trying to figure out my business. I was like I felt like a hot mess and I was like, what am I doing with my life right now? And the first thing that got triggered was how insecure I felt about myself. I was working out consistently, and now that I'm pregnant, now, I'm trying to build my business. I'm going like my body started changing. I gained like 60 pounds, and that's like when you Google things, it's like, oh, your first pregnancy, you're only supposed to gain around 30 pounds. I gained like 60 pounds. It was crazy. I felt so insecure about myself. And the only thing at that time I felt was me apologizing to my son, like about how bad of a mom I was, or like how much I didn't want to be like my mom, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then in the hospital, like after giving birth to him, I was like, this is really weird because everyone talks about how much unconditional love, like they're crying, they feel so much love for their kid. I felt nothing. And that was weird. I was like, I feel like I'm holding an alien. And I started questioning. I said, why don't I feel anything? And I didn't really tell anyone about it, but through my own healing journey after having him, I started noticing patterns that I was so obsessed with work. I was never present with him. My in-laws took care of him for the first few months, and I felt that insecurity again, that like I wasn't capable of taking care of him, that they were probably better parents than I was. um, but then doing the healing work, going back, I realized that I didn't even feel love when I was in the womb. So how
Mhm.
am I capable of feeling love for my own child if I never received love, right? If I never felt love before. So how was I ever going to feel that when I saw him? There was no emotional connection. And that's the block in the heart. And that started way back in the womb. Um, and and so many people experience this. Like so many people think it
Yeah.
starts after they're born, but it's not. It happens already in the womb. What your parents felt, like some clients of mine remember their parents, their mom feeling abandoned by their dad. They felt that their parents were not around, and they weren't even born yet. So all that to say is that if we've never energetically felt something, emotionally felt something when we were little, it's very hard to discern that in our adulthood.
Yeah.
So many people have challenges in receiving, right? You keep attracting the same relationships, you're not open to receiving money and abundance, or you're very self-critical of yourself and all these things. Those are all just heart blocks because we've never felt safe to receive. We've never felt love before.
Mhm. Holy moly. I have to say what like kind of what you just described exactly it mirrors exactly the experience that I had. Um I didn't receive love in the womb. I didn't receive love after I was born either. So, I mean, in in the way that in the way that I needed, right? And so, um with my entire pregnancy, I was so dissociated from who I was. Like it was literally like I was living in two worlds all the time. And when my son was born, I mean, I remember they put him on my chest and I was like, I do not know who this kid is. Like, but it took me probably the first year to try to develop that bond with him. And so I think there's a lot of women that are out there that happens to them and they feel so guilty having to not having, but feel guilty like possibly expressing that. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want women to understand that like because of that disconnection, that's not your fault. Like like you and I are talking, like it happens in the womb. There's something that had happened in the womb, and you're absolutely right. If you have never energetically experienced receiving love or being loved, how do you know what that is? When I'm like, when you're finally human form and you're out here and you're doing your thing, it's really hard to understand what that is. And so we do have a question, and I'm so afraid that I am going to butcher your name, but is it Gurjeet? Did I say that correctly? She's asking how, did I say that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
Okay. Whew. So you're asking about how we can overcome that. Nikki, do you want to share? Or
Yes.
okay.
Oh, thank you for your question, Gurjeet. So for us, it starts with ourselves. It starts with the energy work of healing our own inner child and the origin of where that came from. So, like, a good example is like being able to walk someone back in time and really allowing them to feel loved at that time. And when we can feel, right? Oftentimes it's like we don't feel it. When we can practice feeling it, then that opens up our heart to be able to connect with our children. And that was like really big for me in my own journey of going back in time, identifying all the things of where where energy was blocked, where emotions were blocked, where I wasn't allowed to feel my feelings and actually feeling them. And that opened up the channel of feeling. And now I have a much better relationship with my kids. Like I can actually be present with them, um, because the original, right, the symptom that we experience of not being able to connect with someone is actually not being able to connect with ourselves. So, of course, the solution is connect with yourself more often, connect with yourself, and now you are able to connect with other people. You're able to connect in relationships.
I love that. Um, like I agree. For me, I had to do a lot of healing that started from being inside the womb. And like I mean like I just took myself back there, and when we talk about inner child healing, we as the adult person is now taking care of our ourselves as the child. And so what I did, and I'm just sharing my experience, is I almost I kind of reversed it where I I went into this vision where my mom was the one inside my womb. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to show her what love was. So I was having a lot of visions of like I would sit there with my hands on my stomach and just love the little spark that was in there. That was my mom. So she could experience what love was is. Because what we need to realize is that I don't believe that it is my mom's fault. I believe it is something that she experienced in her childhood. I believe that whoever imprinted it on her experienced that in her childhood, and it does, it's a ripple effect. So where did I want my ripple effect to end? I wanted it to end with my mom. So I just sat there and I loved her like how I felt like a mother should love her. And it was interesting because as I sat in that vision, I then morphed back into my mother's belly and feeling like just feeling love like radiating out. So then what I wanted to do was to give that to my son. So then I went back into the vision of when I was so dissociated from having my son, putting my hands on my belly and just radiating that love to him. So I now associated myself, and then I came back to that moment and just held him and loved him. And I'm going to tell you, it's gonna probably make me a little bit emotional, but like in that moment when I was all done with that healing, the relationship and the connection that I had with my son was completely different. And it has been so beautiful ever since. And I'm gonna tell you I wouldn't do anything different. And I got two gifts out of that. I got the connection with my son that was always, for me, always kind of like a hit and miss, which is now a full connection. And even though I'm going to tell you in the human form, I have a tumultuous relationship with my mom, but I'm going to tell you, like, I love her more than anything. I truly believe that she does love me. She just maybe didn't, she just never learned how to express it in a way that I needed. So now I'm going to give that to myself and I'm going to give that to my son. So I just wanted to share that too because you had a question about that, Gurjeet, and you're also what are the odds of this, right? Nothing happens by coincidence that you're a pregnancy coach. So perfect timing for you to join us in this conversation. So cool. Yeah. All right. Well, with that said, does anybody else have any questions or comments that you would like to put in the chat, or if you want to come off mute and share? Um,
Yes, I have a question. I love that, sending love to your son really altered the relationship for the better. But I was just wondering, what about when you did that for your mom? Did it influence her in any way?
I'll have to be honest with you. I think it I with her, I don't know. So I've been estranged from my mother for 7 years, going on 7 years now. So energetically, it felt like there may have been a shift. But what I realized is that I think at the moment I was like, I'm doing this for her. But in all honesty, what I needed is I needed to do that for me because I needed to stop questioning whether my mom really loved me or did she hate me? Did she, did she wish I was never born or did she wish, so I feel like when we're doing inner child work, the person that we're healing, yes, it can ripple out to them, but the main person that we're healing is always ourselves. So I feel that because I did that healing for me and it was so powerful, and I am in connection with my son, it has now rippled out to my son, and this is kind of the effect of that. With my mom, I'll be honest, I probably will never know. But you know what? In my heart, I don't think that I necessarily need to know. I just need to know that I love her more than anything, and that it will always be that way. And maybe just in this lifetime at that, 7 years ago at that mark, that was the turning point that we both needed in order to find ourselves. So, I don't fault her for anything. It's okay that if we're not in connection, but you know what? Like I said, it comes back to the healing of what I needed. And ultimately, that's really what's most important because that was a moment that I started to really learn how to love myself. And that's what we're always talking about when we're talking about evolving and wanting to ascend. We can put our love out to everyone, but the love that is most important while we're here is learning to remember that we love ourselves.
Yes, I
Because
totally agree with that, Kelly, because like you yourself are the most important person in your life. So focus on yourself. That's great. Thank you.
yeah, thank you for that question. That was such a good question. Natalie, you have a question?
Yes, well, I'm curious. First, I wasn't sure if this was on, so I'm happy to was join the conversation. It's really on alignment where I am. And what I was curious, and yes, it's all about the love and inner child. And as a light leader, there's, to me, a lot more of feeling safe with what we're here to bring, like the big stuff. Like yes, I am too much, and I am a new art leader, and how do we overcome? So there's that part of love, and there's a lot of persecution, wounding, Atlantean, whatever wounding, there is embodying a lot of what you're saying, embodying our light, and like how to um, how to start to articulate. So I have this big vision and you for the new humanity, and I've been in silence. So it's like there's a big gap between what I'm here to speak about and the experience and filling myself up with love. Yes, to a to the level that I can cope with rejection and judgment and everything. But there's also, which is wondering if you can speak about that, Nikki, of like the high throat, the wounding, the the wounding, or for me, it dates back to Atlantean time when we because you spoke about unity consciousness. So what I feel is that right now there was a lot of or light leadership, if I'd say speak like that, that was not like humanity was not ready for that, and now I think we are, and we're called to speak up. So I don't know if it makes sense, or if you can put a few words on what's your perspective on stepping, yeah, out of the fear and speaking up about our our contribution, our role in as a light leader.
Oh, yes, I would love to. I'm so excited about this because this was something I've also been working through. Is a couple of things came through while you were speaking, and I just intuitively got them. Clearing the collective wound around war, because and this also comes from Atlantean times and also other lifetimes where, which is why we're in Earth having this experience of so much war energy in our field right now. And war creates that fear, right? War creates that fear that, like, even if you speak, it doesn't make a difference. Even if you speak, that you might feel like it's overpowered by the darkness. And there's a fear around that. Another thing is clearing your lifetimes where you have been a leader in other planets, and perhaps something happened where you were persecuted for your spiritual gifts. Or maybe you weren't heard. You weren't heard, and something really important happened, and it really influenced and impacted you in this lifetime. Um, there was and then I also want to guide you through something, if that's okay. Would you be open to that?
Yes, sure.
Yay. Okay. When you close your eyes and when you connect with yourself, and you can stay off of mute so you can speak to me. So if you're muted, just take yourself off mute. Okay. So when you close your eyes and when you connect with yourself and you ask yourself, show me, and your higher guides will show you this, show me where the origin of my block is coming from, and just be open to receive.
So show me, you say, show me
Yes, just show
show me the
me
origin.
the origin of my block.
I have just vague images of like fires and turmoil. It's kind of vague. I usually have a very, very clear vision. And recently, as I tried to bring into the leadership, like I feel like this this veil come back, and I'm talking about unveiling. So it is always kind of a paradox when we're leading something we're going to experience. I think what many are also experiencing, but there's that somehow persecution of bringing, like causing pain, causing, being part of causing some, like a big hurt, like a big event of people like running and fire and like being part of that. That's what that's what brought to mind.
Beautiful. And and you can clear this on your own too, and just feel into that. Feel into it. And you can just ask your higher guides to come through and help release that from your field. I almost feel the Atlantean guides too. They're present with us. So yeah. And just let me know when you feel the energy dissolve.
Yeah, I feel some dissolving, and the question, okay, and then what's the next, like, what's the next step? Like, how can I break through from this silence to reach the people that I'm here to share this message, this wisdom, this remembrance with.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wants to go like right away. Okay, I'm ready.
Don't worry.
How do I speak?
Now I want you to connect with your heart because that's where I feel intuitively guided to direct you. So when you connect with your heart, what is your heart showing you?
Well, I see Kelly's eyes. Like I just look at Kelly, and then I can see Kelly's eyes looking at me.
Oh,
That's weird. I'm not sure if I just looked at her, but what my heart is actually feeling is that I could feel both of your conversation just going into my heart, and just really this is so much of the conversation that I've been through but not speaking about it, and like I can hear you both like that's what it feels in my heart. It's just like, oh, those people speak my language.
So just allow yourself to feel it. Let that energy fill up in your heart space.
I'm just seeing more light, like brighter light in my heart. And it's just feeling this really amazing sense of being seen by the few angel right now. it's, it's really really great. Thank you.
You're welcome. When you feel into that, is there anything else that you intuitively feel is coming through, or you feel that's exactly what you needed to receive today?
Well, this sense of being witnessed, heard, seen, and resonance for what I'm here to bring. Like, you guys didn't blink an eye or thought like I was crazy or oh my God, what is she talking about? Or any like I just feel like wow, this is really what I'm here to do. Thank you. So as you said earlier, you can't really give what you never really felt. And I think that's part of my leadership is to bring that. So great. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for
I
sharing
had
with
no
us.
idea that I just was intuitively guided, opened my email and guys appeared and I don't even know. And thank you.
Um, may I share something with you that I actually just channeled? I want to say it was probably about a week ago, and it was connected to Atlantis. And I feel, Natalie, like this honestly, like this message is meant for you. I mean, it's not for others, but it's particularly meant for you. I don't feel that anything ever happens by coincidence. So the message that I was channeling is that our new earth, we're always mirroring something, right? So our earth at this moment is actually mirroring I'm going to say we will not have the exact same events. They will happen differently because we're kind of in a different energy, but the mirror is coming from the Atlantean time. And the reason that is happening is because there were codes that were I'm going to say that at the time of the destruction of Atlantis, that were actually covered up, or like the way that I saw it was like sucked into the resonance of the frequency of, I'm going to say, of the harmonic field, because they needed to be protected. And right now, what is happening as we're moving into this new earth is that I'm going to say people like you, I'm like, I know what you're talking about that urge of needing to like express this. That is where that's coming from, because there are people across the globe that are starting to reactivate it's known as the codex, is reactivating the code X that is going into the resonance of the frequency of the collective. So there are going to be more and more people just like you that are coming forward that are like, I have something to say, but I don't know when and where to say it. The best thing that I can guide you is to just be patient, because there is going to be a moment in time that will be coming very soon where you will wake up one day and you will just step into this voice that is needing to be heard, because those codes are being activated in you, just like they're being activated in the field that we are all experiencing. So I'm so happy that you felt seen and heard today with me and Nikki, because we do see you, we do hear you. And I'm going to tell you, as you were talking, I can feel that you have a big presence into this new harmonic resonance that we are stepping into. Hold on to that, because it's coming. It
Yes.
is coming. I'm telling you, if you guys don't know, like, I'm a futurist, I can see it. I feel the harmonic resonance and the frequencies all the time. Ask Nikki. Nikki will ask me, she's all, what are you doing today? I'm all listening to the frequencies. But,
Yes.
but
All
it's,
the time.
but it's coming. So I'm telling you, I know that feeling that you're talking about, because I have it too. But but there also the sense of like we're kind of being pulled back a little bit, because we have to wait for that frequency to match with with the harmonic resonance of not just on a micro level, on a macro level, on a cosmic level. It's coming. But right now, that's what you're feeling is the mirror of the Atlantean Code X that these codes are literally being activated as we speak.
Yeah, I agree. I'm starting an interview series with an astrologer on Atlantis code, and I receive the 12 crystalline code for the new Earth as a new Earth sacred leadership. And so I envision a global gathering in December where we're going to speak about this those codes. And I asked, okay, put me with the right people.
Yes.
And so your vision is seems pretty aligned with mine.
Perfect. Yes.
Thank you, beautiful. It's it's I think those light codes with so for what I just understand it, they come in the heart. It's the heart leading the way, and we still have to clear some of the shadows and some of the distortion and the conditioning, and move on with those light codes that are we are receiving and embodying. I think it takes a little bit of a time to for us, the old souls. I think we're coming as old souls to bring this on the planet, but the voice, yeah, our voice is so fundamental, like our voice to have space for this. So thank you again for the beautiful space and what you're both of your work. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thank you, Natalia. Oh, or
you.
Natalie. Yay.
Thank you.
And it is, you are absolutely correct. I do feel this year is a year of integration and embodiment for me too. Like, I got codes just like all the time. And I was like, I know I'm supposed to be in the ascension space, but then this year hit and I was pulled back into my body. Like before I was like, oh my God, I see all these things. Or like me and Kelly were like, oh my God, Kelly's like, you can connect to the 48th dimension if you wanted to. And I was like, really? Let me close my eyes and connect to it. And I was like, oh my God, I could connect to the 48th dimension. Oh my God. But then that's when it hit. It was like, what about my human vessel? And like January hit and it pulled me right back into my body. And all these shadows started coming up about like my voice and my heart and not feeling seen and not feeling good enough. So it was like it was about healing all of those things. And that actually opened up my voice to be able to share this experience with you today. Because before then, I would have been too scared to even say, like, to even talk about like the Pleiadians or anything like that. I'm like, do people understand what I'm talking about? Like, I don't know if people understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're in a moment of where all of this is needing to be purged. So I like Nikki said, I'm not surprised that you're kind of feeling that tension of like, I need to be seen and heard. How do I be seen? How do I do that? How like, and then a little bit of that fear. Like a lot of those shadows will be coming up because like I said, you're like, I mean, it clearly you are here to share the expression of those codes that are coming from the Atlantean times. We need them to help move our earth into that next frequency. So just, and I'm going to tell you, give yourself compassion, just love yourself through those times of where we go like this, right? Because that's just, I'm telling you, it's just all part of the process. It is all part of the process. We're like, we feel good, we're purging. We feel good, we're purging. And you know what? As miserable as that downward spiral is, one of the things that I have learned is to just embrace it with gratitude because I know that I'm purging out the stuff that doesn't serve me anymore. So I want to let it go. And Yeah, like just, you're so supported. You're so supported here in this circle. And you said you connected with an astrologer that like like your support is coming. It's here, but more is coming. So, but remember, we've got to purge for more to come because we got to get rid of what's kind of jarring up our system to get that out to bring in that new beautiful love and frequency and I'm going to say empowerment because that's where your head is. It's a sense of empowerment to use that voice and not be afraid because it's your truth. And your truth, other people will connect with that truth. And imagine all these truths starting to come together to create that field of unity that Nikki was talking about because it takes all of us, not one, but all of us. So, so cool. Thank you for sharing that with us, Natalie. Thank you, Gurjeet, for sharing your questions and your insight, and Camille for being here, and everybody else that's going to be watching the replay later. Nikki,
I'd like to echo what Camille said. What is
yeah,
the 48th dimension?
Do you want to explain that, Kelly? Because you're tapping into dimensions all the time. I
I
felt
am.
with you.
So, in all honesty, when we talk about the different dimensions, it's really just a particular type of frequency. So, we like a lot of times the talk is we only go to the 12th dimension. Well, that's not true because frequency is always changing. The law of frequency and vibration like supports that. Because our energy is never the same. Even as I'm sitting here and talking to you, my energy has already transmuted probably 10 times the 100th because our energy is always moving. So believe it or not, as we move through the day, we actually move through different dimensions. So because our frequency and our energy changes, so we're connecting with different frequencies and energies of those dimension. So the 40th dimension is not like how we would see Earth or like even like when we talk about like the rocks and everything, that's another type of dimension. This dimension is purely a frequency. It's actually the way that it just came in is that it's just pure light. I could see it right now. It is so bright. It is literally one of the highest dimensions of light. So, we talk about moving at like the light, like the speed of light and like um, that's how it's coming in as like the speed of light. So in this dimension, things happen like we talk about in other dimensions, like things happen like this. It's going to be hard to wrap our human minds around, but it happens even faster than that. So fast, it's almost as if like how funny, because it's talking about the speed of life, but it's showing me as if like time stopped. So sorry, my sometimes my channeling comes in and it goes all over the place, but it's literally a dimension where the frequencies are moving so quickly because it is vibrating so high that we as human beings cannot fathom how quickly things move. It's moving faster than a thought is the way that it's being shown to me. And we don't it's not just the 48th dimension. Like there is an infinite amount of dimensions out there. We as human beings just cannot wrap our human mind and brain around it. So I don't know if that explained it very well. I'm going to tell you this is a really kind of the first time that I've tapped into the 48th dimension like that, but
Yes, I just have, I don't know if we have time, but just
sure.
wanted to share a dream I had about a month
Yeah.
ago. And in the dream, I was in this strange dimension, I want to say, because it wasn't a place, there were no houses, no nothing. It was like crystals and an amazing blue color. And I was just floating like towards it away. Like I was literally gliding. I had nothing in me. It was just like my consciousness moving forward and then moving back, and it was all this amazing blue color, and I thought that it looked like crystals. So what might that be?
Are you asking me or Nikki?
Yes, I'm asking a question because that was my experience, and I don't know where I went or what happened.
So Nikki, is it okay if I answer? I know you're, because I'm like,
Yeah.
because you're our guest, but like, I'm gonna, so a lot of times we misinterpret our consciousness, like I say leaving our body, but it always, it always comes back, but like our consciousness I'm gonna say going someplace else as us dreaming. And so I don't necessarily feel like you were dreaming. I feel like you were actually in this place where your consciousness literally, I'm gonna say, defied all time space, and literally I'm gonna say I believe that you went to if you want to call it another dimension. But what happens is your consciousness connected to this very high vibrational frequency, and it's in that frequency. And believe it or not, even when we're in whatever frequency that we still will interpret it in the way that is meant for you to understand it. So the reason that I say this is that we can be on the same frequency, but you and I will always have, I'm going to use the word perspective on how we experience it. So that was how your consciousness experienced that frequency. I don't believe that you were dreaming. I believe that you were actually, I'm going to say, traveling. I don't feel like it was an astral travel, because usually when you astral travel, you can still feel kind of the imprint of your body. But this is pure consciousness. So literally, your mind was like was like moving through the fabric of of the harmonic resonance I just heard.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So cool. That's all I have to say. I just think like it's incredible, like what we can really do when we allow those limitations to just, you know, fall off. And you got to experience that. Natalie got to experience that. I know Camille has experienced it too, because her and I have had conversations, but like we get like it's incredible. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, thank you so much. So okay, so I'd like, Nikki, you have a gift that you donated, that you so kindly donated to the She Rises Foundation. The gift is a creativity activation for 50 minutes. Do you want to explain a little bit more about what people will get from that activation?
Yeah, it's really interesting because the intention was creativity activation. However, in the activation, there was so much more that came through, and the divine director of destiny came through, and what he does is he aligns you to your highest path. So, although we did a lot of activations within that, the biggest thing that stood out to me was that the divine director came through. So, everything that your energy field is. Um, in its expression, right? In its expression, that's why it's called creativity. It's in our expression is within that activation. And then they do the alignment to your highest timeline with the divine director. He directs your destiny, is basically what it is. And he came through to align that. So there's a lot. Oh my God, there's so many activations. I don't even remember. I think like Metatron came through, all these things. But if you just feel into the energy of it and if you resonate with it, it will support you. That's all I can say.
Heck, I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, okay. So you guys can find that in Nikki Speaker Center. You'll see it under, it'll say, if you love Nikki, here's her gift. So, and again, all proceeds, 100% of it goes to the foundation to support women, to provide those scholarships and that funding and that support that we are needing, because we are stepping into the feminine rising. So it is so important for us to just support one another. Nikki, as always, it's so much fun to talk to you. Thank you for coming on and sharing your insight and your wisdom. I've had such a fun conversation with you. A huge thank you to all of you who joined us here live. Amazing conversations. Thank you so much for sharing and I'm going to say, be courageous to share your experiences and your wisdom, because we all get to learn when we use our voice. So just a huge thank you to all of you and to everyone who watches the replay later. Again, I have always have so much gratitude for the people for the speakers and for the guests and just, just being able to all come together. So thank you everyone. And until next time, next week, same time, we will have another guest speaker here sharing her wisdom and messaging with all of you. So until next time, everyone, so much love from my heart to yours. Thank you.